To show you a quick demo of how the distributed product recall solution works, spanning cloud, edge, and device, let's begin with a day in the life of a warehouse manager. Warehouse manager has a little product recall icon on his taskbar, very similar to the icons for Windows update notification or antivirus notifications that essentially show you what are the tasks that I need to care about when I log in every day. The system, in essence, is configured for regular recall notifications to be pushed down from the cloud to the on-premise listener at regular periods of time. But today, to show this demo at work, let's go ahead and first sign in into our recall agent as the on-premise recall warehouse manager. And let's go ahead and say force a check for recalls. What you're seeing is the S3 Edge RTVS system on-premise contacting the S3 recall service built on top of the Microsoft Cloud Platform in the cloud, and essentially asking the notification service if there are any product recalls of interest that it has not seen yet, and then disconnects from the cloud. What you see here now is a set of recalls, essentially from manufacturer X10, that need to be executed on premise, and then essentially the notification is done once it says here are the recalls that need to be done. What's really going on behind the scenes is that the .NET services platform allows us to essentially distribute relevant recall notifications in a secure manner to the on-premise server and let the on-premise server know that there are recalls that need to be taken care of. The plumbing, again, essentially allows us to focus on the business solution versus worrying about how to execute this in a scalable, distributed manner. Let's go ahead and then hit on execute recall, and essentially what you see come up is the on-premise portal, which can be hosted as well, that tells us that you have a bunch of recalls that need to be executed, and especially the new ones that are the X-ray units and the ECG machines that are existing items in the warehouse that need to be recalled and which have been caught before it gets to the hospital, before it gets to the end user, God forbid. Now, in order to locate the tainted items and essentially pull the X-ray units and the machines, ECG machines that need to be recalled, the warehouse manager essentially needs to assign this workflow to the device, to a worker who essentially has a RFID device that will help him locate the items in real time and pull it from the shelf of the warehouse. At this time, we'll also basically bring up our little mobile device UI that's being projected on screen through remote desktop connection to the mobile device, and you see that somewhere in the warehouse a worker by the name of Mark essentially is going to log in into the RTVS system, which is running on the mobile device. So as Mark logs in, what we'll then do is, as a warehouse manager, go ahead and assign the task of removing these units to Mark on his handheld. Now, as Mark signs in and essentially is ready to go for the day, let's go ahead and basically pick Mark. Let's go take a look at the refresh view, and then you should see Mark pop up as he's signed in, and assign the task of essentially locating and pulling the recall items from the shelf. Now, what you just saw was a truly distributed system where a piece of the recall workflow has now been pushed to the mobile device. And we saw that as Mark signed in and we refreshed the user base, we saw Mark's name pop up, and we now assigned him the task of going and locating the tainted items, which essentially the application on the handheld has, and removing it from the shelf. What is also very important to note here is that because of the fact that this application has been built in an extensible manner on the Microsoft platform across all three tiers, what it allows us to do as a solution provider is to stay focused really on application level functionality versus worry about the distributed mechanisms that need to be in place to reliably deliver these notifications in real time in a distributed environment scenario. now that the task has been assigned to Mark, let's actually pull up his handheld UI again and see what he has on his screen. So what you see on his device is the UI that essentially tells him where he is. He basically has to go to recall zone and pull a certain item out. So let's go ahead and also scan some tags, location tags as well as item tags. You should hear a little beep that goes off that tells you that a tag has been scanned. So we've located an X-ray unit and we've confirmed that it is the receive zone. So let's go ahead and hit OK on the handheld. Now that task completion has now been identified by the server on premise, and now essentially the next task is farmed off to the handheld device again. Now if we go ahead and continue to read some more tags, what you see is that now we're basically taking the X-ray unit from one place. Whoops, with the wrong tag. Let's go ahead and try the other one. And we're putting it off in the recall zone. And once this task is completed, we essentially have Mark ready to take on other tasks, which can then be farmed out in a distributed manner by this application. If we go back and refresh our product recall portal, now you notice that the X-ray unit recall status is complete. I can then go ahead and essentially upload my recall status, at which point what happens is we connect back up to the cloud and essentially send back status of the recall, and you see there that essentially the status of a successful completion is sent back into the cloud, and the cloud service, the application of the cloud service makes a note of it, and this can be rendered via either a map or any other application level functionality. Again, a truly distributed 3-tier application across multiple locations, across firewalls, that spanned on-device applications to execute the product recall, on-premise portal to essentially to pull down the recalls and assign them, as well as a portal that essentially publishes the recall and tracks the results of the recall. So in summary, what we've seen is a application, a solution that where we were as a company able to take advantage of our on-premise, on-device offerings which were essentially built on BizTalk Server RFID and BizTalk Server RFID Mobile, and had visibility and provided visibility within 4 walls, and distributed and federated across multiple locations to essentially enable a proactive recall solution with services in the cloud that the Windows Azure platform gave us. There is also a hosted version of this application that we use to showcase time and again, that also lets us essentially host the functionality itself outside the firewalls if need be. At the end of the day, for a small ISV such as S3 Edge, this has really given us the opportunity to focus and really innovate on the business application side versus worry about any of the plumbing issues and the large-scale distributed application issues that potentially surface, and really focus on solving real customer problems while trusting industry leaders like Microsoft to provide the backbone of the functionality and allow us to really rapidly innovate and provide these solutions in real time. With that, we've come to the conclusion of the demo, and we'd be happy to talk to you and understand your requirements if you need such a solution as well. Thanks. Bye-bye.